Today we are adding and subtracting rational expressions. There are two topics we want to discuss in this lesson. And we're actually combining two lessons in one. This is lesson 7.3 and lesson 7.4. First, adding rational expressions. And second, subtracting rational expressions. First, when you add rational expressions, which are just fractions, and we have a common denominator, all we do is we add our numerators and our denominators stay the same. But remember, once you add a fraction, you must simplify if you can. And in simplifying, you must factor first, simplify second. So let's factor our numerator and let's factor our denominator. And now simplify. And here's our answer. Now let's find the sum of 5 over 6x plus 9 over 4x to the third. Remember, when we're adding or subtracting fractions, we must first find a common denominator. In this case, our common denominator is 24x to the fourth. Now, this is not the least common denominator. I'll show you how to find the least common denominator later. But you can just find the common denominator and then simplify later. So now that we have a common denominator, 24x to the fourth and 24x to the fourth, we add our numerators. And if you notice, I can factor 2x out of my numerator, and I can factor a 2x out of my denominator. So when I do that, I factor a 2x out of here, and I'm going to simplify it with the 2x I can factor out of my denominator. And here's our answer. Now, in this case, it appears to be a more difficult problem. Well, the first thing we want to do is factor first. If you're ever unsure on where to begin, factor first. So to factor our first rational expression and our second rational expression, we get these for our denominators. This is a perfect square trinomial, and this is the difference of squares. So now it's important to identify. In order for these two rational expressions to obtain a common denominator, we look at each denominator. What is missing from this denominator that's over here, and what is missing from this denominator that is over here? Once we identify that, we multiply this rational expression, the numerator and denominator, by what's missing over here, and then we multiply this rational expression, whatever's missing, by the numerator and denominator. So for example, in this problem here, in this rational expression here, this rational expression denominator is missing x minus y. So I'm going to multiply this rational expression by x minus y over x minus y. And this one is missing another x plus y. So I'm going to multiply my numerator by x plus y and my denominator x plus y. Now I don't want to simplify now. I don't want to simplify. I now want to combine my two rational expressions. Next, I want to distribute 3x to x and 3x to the y, and distribute 2y to the x and 2y to the y. And then if we can simplify, we want to simplify, I can combine like terms in the middle. And then you want to check to see if this could be simplified. It probably cannot. So we are finished. Now for subtraction, let's find the difference. I have a common denominator. Be careful with subtraction because your numerator will not be x squared minus x plus 2. I am subtracting the x and subtracting the 2. So my numerator will be x squared minus parentheses x plus 2, which is the same as x squared minus x minus 2. And now we want to factor our numerator to see if we can simplify our numerator and our denominator. Now simplify. And there's our answer. In this problem, the first thing we want to do is factor our denominators. Factor our denominators because we're looking to see what is missing from this denominator that's over here and what is missing from this denominator that is over here. So, what is missing from this denominator that is over here? Another x minus 4. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by x minus 4 over x minus 4. And then what's missing over here? 2x plus 1. So I'm going to multiply my numerator and my denominator by 2x plus 1 over 2x plus 1. Remember, don't reduce and simplify yet. You want to FOIL here and distribute here. So let's FOIL and distribute and combine any like terms that we have in our numerator. So like terms would be negative 13x and negative 10x, and then 4 and negative 5. And then you want to check to see if our numerator can be simplified. It cannot. So you can either leave it like this for your answer, or you can actually multiply these three binomials together to get some type of trinomial, some type of third degree polynomial. I'm sorry. Next, let's perform the indicated operations. So this is a compound. So this compound meaning it contains more than just addition. It contains, in this case, addition and subtraction. So order of operations still holds. I'm going to first subtract. Before I can subtract this, I must find a common denominator. How do I do that? Factor first. So this denominator is missing another x plus 1. This denominator is missing another x. So I'm going to multiply this fraction. I'm going to completely ignore this for now. I'm going to multiply this fraction by x plus 1 over x plus 1. Multiply this fraction by x over x, and I get this. And now inside my parentheses, I have like terms. Because of that, I can now multiply or FOIL my numerator, x plus 2 times x plus 1, and then combine my like terms. Okay, so let's FOIL our numerator and then combine like terms. And so over here, now let's look at in this fraction and in this fraction. So I have two fractions here. What is missing from this fraction that's over here? Notice there's nothing missing from here. So x is here, x is there. X plus 1 is here, x plus 1 is here. This is missing in x minus 1 over an x minus 1. So that's where we got 3 times x minus 1 over x parentheses x plus 1 parentheses x minus 1 parentheses. And next, now we're going to combine these, and then we're going to multiply and keep multiplying and simplifying and combining until you get to the point where you can combine like terms. And all this simplifies to x squared minus 1, and this simplifies to x times x squared minus 1. The x minus 1's reduce to 1. I'm left with 1 over x. And that is my simplified answer, 1 over x. Please do the My Math Lab for 7.3 and 7.4. Also, please review all the quizzes that we've had, because your final will be coming up next week. Thank you.